are concurred in. Moving to file item 31, that's AB 833. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 833 by Assemblymember Bonta, enacting Child Care and Development Services.
Mr. Bonta, you may open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. AB 833 would authorize Alameda County to develop and implement a 5-year child care subsidy pilot plan or county-specific plan to meet the local needs of children and families. It's back on concurrence. The amendments taken in the Senate clarify the scope of the bill to include flexibility that extends to licensed family child care providers. Members, I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Bonta. Seeing no discussion on the item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the vote. Ayes 66, noes 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. File item 32 is AB 858. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 858 by Assemblymember Wood and others, enacting the Medi-Cal.
Dr. Wood, you may open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. AB 858 is back from the Senate for concurrence. AB 858 recognizes marriage and family therapists as billable providers in federally qualified health centers and rural health centers, the same as psychologists and licensed clinical social workers. Amendments taken in the Senate were technical suggestions by the Department of Health Care Services. AB 858 has received bipartisan support and currently has no listed opposition. I respectfully ask for your aye vote for concurrence.
Seeing no discussion on the item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the vote. Ayes 69, noes 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. File item 33, AB 883. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 883 by Assemblymember Lowe, enacting to employment.
Mr. Lowe, you may open.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker and members. Assembly Bill 883 prohibits employers from publishing or posting a job advertisement that disqualifies an applicant who is currently or was at one point a public employee. Amendments in the Senate limit the bill to public employers. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Lowe. Seeing no discussion on the item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the vote. Ayes 52, noes 12. Senate amendments are concurred in. File item 34, AB 968. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 968 by Assemblymember Williams and others, enacting to post-secondary education.
Mr. Williams, you may open.
Members, you'll remember that I have a 3-bill package on sexual assault. This is the bill that establishes standard notation across all of California's higher education segments for academic transcripts, which will indicate on a student's transcript when the student is ineligible to re-enroll due to suspension or expulsion, and the period of time that that student is ineligible to re-enroll. Senate amendments delay implementation for the community college system by 6 months so that they have time to update their systems. Members, if we don't pass this, the community college will continue to be out of compliance with the law, since they are now supposed to do hearings to determine whether a student that has been expelled or dismissed from another college is allowed to enroll in their college. At this point, they have no way to even tell if someone has been kicked out for sexual assault or violence in another school. They just simply take them all because there is no notation. Ask for your aye vote on amendments.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Seeing no debate on this item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the vote. Ayes 67, noes 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. File item 35 is AB 1042, and the clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 1042 by Assemblymember Cooper, enacting professions and vocations.
Mr. Cooper, you may open.
Mr. Speaker and members, Senate amendments delay implementation of the bill to January 1st, 2017 as examples of straight out of Compton security officer duties, and lastly addresses a payroll issue in the security guard industry. The bill has no opposition and has received no votes. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Seeing no additional discussion on the item, the clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the vote. Ayes 69, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Okay, members. Back on the file item 36. That's AB 1045. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 1045 by Assemblymember Irwin and others enacting the solid waste.
Ms. Irwin, you may open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, there's been a lot of discussion this year about the importance of legislative oversight. If you support legislative oversight, you should be a yes on this bill. AB 1045 requires Cal EPA, the State Water Board, the Air Resources Board, and CDFA to work together to streamline and coordinate existing regulations relating to organic waste recycling. This bill is supported by both industry and environmental groups, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Ms. Irwin. Mr. Mathis, you are recognized.
Mr. Speaker and members, the bio-waste that would be sent to the composting facilities in this bill passes is the fuel for our cogeneration and biomass plants, a known renewable energy source. I have 2 such plants in my district. We should be working to support and expand cogen and biomass rather than sending their fuel to a dump to be decomposed, which produces methane and other known greenhouse gas. If we want to expand renewable energy, cogeneration and biomass has to be part of the discussion and not simply dumped. I urge a no vote.
Thank you, Mr. Mathis. Mr. Williams, you are recognized.
As Chair of Natural Resources, I can tell you there is plenty of organic waste in this state to power all the biomass facilities that we have or could possibly have and still create many, many jobs in organic composting. I would respectfully say that the previous comments come from a lack of understanding of how much actual fuel and feedstock there is out there. We will try to provide him with the necessary information.
Mr. Jones, state your point of order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would ask that you would admonish the previous speaker that when he's speaking on the floor that he keep his comments relevant to the bill that's being discussed and especially not bring up derogatory remarks to other speakers on the floor.
Mr. Jones, I listened closely to Mr. Williams' comments. He indicated that he would be following up with Mr. Mathis to discuss the item, but his comments in the main were germane to the bill before us. The point of order is not well taken. With seeing no additional discussion or debate, Ms. Irwin, you may close.
Well, who knew that this would be a controversial bill? So I will say that this does not affect...
Ms. Irwin, Mr. Mathis, state your point of order.
Thank you. Members, there are a few legislatures of this body who've actually taken part in the Department of Energy Legislative Energy Horizons Institute. I happen to be one of such members. And within this institute, we learn about such things about biomass and how everybody else in the country actually counts it as a renewable source, and how the problem with using it as a renewable source is the lack of materials to use as fuel.
Mr. Mathis.
I again urge the no vote.
Mr. Mathis, you have spoken on the item. I turn to you with the expectation that that would be a point of order, and you continued the debate. You have spoken previously on the item. Debate has ceased on the bill. Ms. Irwin, you may close.
This does not impact biomass at all. I ask for your aye vote.
Clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the vote. Ayes 54, noes 7. Senate amendments are concurred in. File item 37. That's AB 1073. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 1073 by Assemblymember Ting, enacting into pharmacy.
Mr. Ting, you may open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. AB 1073 ensures pharmacists provide translations in the 5 most spoken languages other than English across the state. We work very closely with the pharmacy board as well as pharmacists. We received no votes in the Senate and no votes here. I respectfully ask for your concurrence.
Ms. Baker, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise torn about this bill. I hope I can support it. My concern is it does absolutely nothing to address the issues of a Swedish tag team for my district. And so I strongly urge that in the coming year we're able to work together to improve that and ensure that we can cover this for all in languages to address Swedish tag teams from throughout the state. I urge a aye vote.
Mr. Ting, would you like to close?
Just ask for aye vote.
Clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the vote. Ayes 77, noes 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. File item 38 is AB 1096. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 1096 by Assemblymember Chu and others, enacting into vehicles.
Mr. Chu, you may open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, AB 1096 is back on for concurrence. This bill will modernize outdated state laws that have governed electric bicycles and outline where e-bikes can travel. We made clarifying and chaptering amendments in the Senate. This bill has not received a single no vote in the legislature. I want to thank the bipartisan effort, including our principal co-author, Assemblymember Mr. Harper. Ask for aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Chu. Mr. Harper.
Thank you very much. I also rise in support of this measure and thank the author for bringing this, the stakeholders together to be able to create an outstanding bill. Whether you're enjoying an electronic bicycle down by the shore in Huntington Beach, Newport Beach, or Laguna Beach, or up with a Rocky Mountain High, I urge you to have a yes vote.
Seeing no additional discussion on the item, the clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the vote. Ayes 75, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. File item 39 is AB 1164. So this is file item 39, AB 1160. Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies, members. We are moving to file item 40. That's AB 1177. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 1177 by Assemblymember Gomez and others, enacting into primary care clinics.
Mr. Gomez, you may open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I'm presenting Assembly Bill 1177, which is back on concurrence. It would require the Department of Health to repeal a regulation that requires clinics to have a hospital transfer agreement with the local hospital in order to obtain a license. This bill does not prevent a hospital or a clinic from entering into a hospital transfer agreement. I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez. Seeing no discussion on the item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the vote. Ayes 48, noes 28. Senate amendments are concurred in. File item 41 is AB 1178. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 1178 by Assemblymember Ashajian, enacting into vehicles.
Mr. Asajian.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to present AB 1178, which is back on concurrence. Senate amendments narrowed the opposition concerns with the bill and added chaptering language. This bill passed out the Senate with unanimous support. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Seeing no discussion or debate on this item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the vote. Ayes 73, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. File item 42 is AB 1231. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 1231 by Assemblymember Wood, enacting in Medi-Cal.
Dr. Wood, you may open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. AB 1231 ensures that all Medi-Cal members, especially in rural areas, have access to medical care by clarifying that non-medical transportation is a covered Medi-Cal benefit. Amendments taken in the Senate were technical suggestions by the Department of Health Care Services. AB 1231 has received unanimous bipartisan support, has no opposition. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Seeing no discussion or debate on the item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tie the vote. Ayes 72, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. File item 43, AB 1320. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 1320 by Assemblymember Mainshine, enacting to alcoholic beverages, declaring the urgency thereof to take effect immediately.
Mr. Mainshine, you may open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. AB 1320 is back on concurrence. Amendments taken in the Senate add an urgency clause and add technical details agreed upon by stakeholders and the administration. I respectfully request for your aye vote.
Thank you. Mr. Mainshine? Seeing no discussion or debate, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the vote. Ayes 73, no 0 on the urgency. Ayes 73, no 0 on the measure. Senate amendments are concurred in. File item 44, AB 1420. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 1420 by Assemblymember Salas and others, enacting relating to oil and gas.
Mr. Salas, you may open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Assembly Bill 1420 is a district bill in response to a gas leak that occurred in the city of Arvin. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Seeing no discussion or debate on the item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote. Desire to vote. All members vote. Desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the vote. Ayes 70, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. File item 45, AB 1496. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 1496 by Assemblymember Thurmond and others, enacting relating to greenhouse gases.
Mr. Thurmond, you may open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I rise to present AB 1496, which is back for concurrence from the Senate. This bill simply has us study methane to understand the impact on our environment. We've worked very closely with those who had concerns. I'm happy to report that this bill has now no opposition. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Thurmond. Seeing no discussion or debate on the item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. The clerk will close the roll. Tally the vote. Ayes 50, noes 20. Senate amendments are concurred in. File item 46 is AB 10. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 10 by Assemblymember Gatto, enacting to the Political Reform Act of 1974.
Mr. Gatto, you may open.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. AB 10 is back from the Senate for concurrence. Senate amendments deleted the requirement that former lawmakers who have committees open to run for other office still have to file behest reports. But other than that, the bill is a good reform of the Political Reform Act, and I ask for your aye vote in concurrence.
Thank you, Ms. Gatto. Seeing no discussion on the item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the vote. Ayes 72, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. File item number 47, AB 36. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 36 by Assemblymember Campos, enacting relating to local government.
Ms. Campos, you may open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. AB 36 is back for concurrence with Senate amendments. Senate amendments address the concerns raised in this House and those raised by sheriffs who are elected officials. As a result, county sheriffs have removed their opposition. This is a bipartisan measure that provides transparency, safety, and accountability. I respectfully ask for your vote.
Thank you, Ms. Campos. Seeing no discussion on the item, the clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the vote. Ayes 68, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. File item 48 is AB 142. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 142 by Assemblymember Bigelow and others, enacting relating to wild and scenic rivers.
Mr. Bigelow, you may open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I'm presenting AB 142 to concur in the Senate amendments. The McCallamy River's potential designation in the wild and scenic system has been a hot-button topic for the past 2 decades. I'm not here today to present a wild and scenic designation on the McCallamy River, but it's the time has come for stakeholders to come together and provide a solution to end the bickering and offer a long-term solution along this river. The compromise between stakeholders in AB 142, which simply requests a study of the McCallamy River by the Secretary of Natural Resources, which is to be completed and presented to the legislature by December 31st, 2017. The study shall include a clear recommendation on the suitability or non-suitability of an addition for the wild and scenic designation on the McCallamy River. There's a cost-sharing arrangement in this legislation, which is approximately $250,000, which is to be shared by both parties. My constituents live there, as well as many of yours recreate there. The McCallamy River is a water source that the locals enjoy. They just want a solution. I hope all of you will support AB 142 today and give them that opportunity to finally decide. Thank you. I urge and I vote.
Thank you, Mr. Bigelow. Seeing no discussion on the item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the vote. Ayes 66, noes 1. Senate amendments are concurred in. File item 49, AB 164. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 164 by Assemblymember Gomez, an act relating to the payment of claims against the state, making an appropriation therefore, declaring the urgency thereof to take effect immediately.
Mr. Gomez, you may open.
Mr. Speaker and members, today I'm presenting AB 164 for concurrence. This is a claims bill to settle 2 Department of Justice settlements. I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Ms. Gomez. Seeing no discussion, the clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the vote. Ayes 71, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. We are at file item 50, AB 181 by Ms. Bonilla. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 181 by Assemblymember Bonilla and others, enacting relating to business and professions.
Ms. Bonilla, you may open.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. AB 181 is back for concurrence. The amendments taken in the Senate require the Board of Barbering and Cosmetology to establish regulations for the issuance of a personal service permit, as was recommended in the Sunset Report, and makes other technical changes. I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Ms. Bonilla. Seeing no discussion on the item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the vote. Ayes 63, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. File item 51, AB 192. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 192 by Assemblymember Travis Allen, enacting relating to license plates.
Mr. Allen, you may open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Assembly Bill 192 is back on concurrence. The amendments of the Senate focus this bill on the problem that the pet lovers specialty license plate has encountered. Through conversations with the sponsoring agency in the governor's office, we were able to shut up and dance and able to arrive at the fix contained in this bill. Please join me in supporting the pet lovers license plate, which has sold the required 7,500 plates, and this bill will then release the associated $800,000 to the charities that will help achieve the plate's goal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Seeing no discussion on the item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the vote. Ayes 69, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. File item 52, AB 260. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 260 by Assemblymember Lopez and others, enact relating to foster care.
Ms. Lopez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. AB 260 is back from the Senate with technical amendments. This bill received strong participant support, and thank you, members. I respectfully ask for your vote.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez. Seeing no discussion on the item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the vote. Ayes 68, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. File item 53 is AB 353. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 353 by Assemblymember Lackey and others, enact relating to fish, declaring the urgency thereof to take effect immediately.
Mr. Lackey, you may.
Chair and members, AB 353 is back for concurrence. I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Lackey. I'm sorry, Mr. Jones, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also rise in favor of AB 353, but I do have some concerns about the process. I mean, the bill deals with Bouquet Canyon Creek and the unarmored three-spine stickleback fish, which was just ripe with all kinds of questions. But I'm really concerned about the process of this bill, and may I ask the author a question, please?
Without objection.
Mr. Lackey, is it true that in an attempt to avoid the traditional legislative hazing and giving your colleagues the opportunity to ask you questions on the floor, your first bill left the floor on consent, your second, and I think this is your third bill that actually on May 14th also left on consent. Are you trying to deny us the ability to ask you questions on the floor?
Mr. Lackey, you're under no obligation to answer that question right now.
You know, I appreciate having the opportunity to correct the record. One of the great things that I've experienced here on this floor is the fact that people are able to misquote facts. And this is a fine example of that very process. And I'd like everybody to know that, the procedural process here on this floor is to be respected as we engaged in debate yesterday as to exactly what that process was. And here we are once again deviating from that process in a hazing experience. And so I'd like to remind my colleague that we need to respect rules. That would be greatly appreciated.
On my own time?
Mr.
Well,
Jones?
I am impressed that Mr. Lackey almost burned up all of my time in his response. Mr. Speaker, permission to use a prop, please?
Without objection.
Thank you. Mr. Lackey, I don't know who's your daddy, but in honor of Bouquet Canyon Creek, somebody gave these to me to give to you. So I just want you to know that somebody likes you today. I urge an aye vote.
Mr. Wagner, you are recognized.
All right, members, let's talk process. Our good colleague here managed to slide several bills past us on consent, and when we take a look at what we're asked to vote for here on concurrence, we find out why. On concurrence, here are the Senate amendments. They're important. They're not simple chaptering out. They're not clarifying and technical in nature. They're not all the things we say. No, clarify the boundaries of the Bouquet Canyon Creek Restoration Project. The bill that got out of here on consent didn't do that. Clarify that L.A. County is able to undertake maintenance activities so that the riparian habitat improvements are maintained into the future within the time constraints set forward in any applicable permits. For some reason, that was missing from the original bill. Direct L.A. County to have a biologist on duty at the site when any activity could reasonably affect that aforementioned unarmored three-spine stickleback. Question to the author.
Without objection.
Why did you, on this bill, your first bill, let the other house do all the hard work?
Mr. Lackey.
Once again, my good colleague is misinformed as to the process of how this bill was formulated, and I appreciate his great concern about the other House, but there is a time and place to partner and respect their input, and that's exactly what we did. And so it is with great pride that I accept those amendments. There's only one amendment that I would like to work towards, but it didn't see the light of day. As you know, this bill particularly addresses the California Endangered Species Act, and I would like to have included the flat top haircut, but it got overlooked.
Those amendments are out of order. Mr. Wagner.
On my own time, and I'd urge the author, if he's looking for amendments, to include protection of Daisy Dukes as well. I urge this body to respect the work of our Senate colleagues and concur in their amendments.
Mr. Alejo, this item is concur.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A question for the author.
Without objection.
To my colleague, could you even describe what an unarmored three-spine stickleback even looks like?
To my colleague, the answer is it's a fish.
But can you describe what it looks like? Do you even know what one looks like?
Yeah, it's a swimming animal that has a fin and breathes through gills.
Well, with that members, on my own time, with that description, this species sounds as lovable as a Trump piñata.
Mr. Wilk, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise in reluctant support of AB 353. First of all, I want to commend the author for your yeoman work on this effort. You brought all the stakeholders together. I'm so fortunate that this particular incident is 5 blocks outside of my district, so you had to do all the heavy lifting. But as we close here in this session, I just keep going back to my former colleague from Twin Peaks, the Honorable Tim Donnelly for governor, and he believes that the three-spine stickleback fish should be put on pizza, not preserved. So I'm going to give you my vote, but I'm kind of want to back my old colleague, but I'm going to give you the vote. But I do have a question for the author before I close.
Without objection.
Now, your campaign for state assembly, on all your signs it said, send another lackey to Sacramento. So I'd like to know what of your colleagues here you think are lackeys besides yourself.
Mr. Lackey, please be mindful of any points of personal privilege that may be invoked. You may answer the question.
I won't give him the privilege of invoking that particular piece, and I will just say that I'm very proud of my last name and the great work of this floor, and I would ask for your aye vote.
Mr. Levine, you are recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I have a question of the author.
Without objection.
Yeah, thank you. To my colleague from the Antelope Valley, my constituents greatly admire work to protect species in wildlife, and I really admire your work on the unarmored three-spine stickleback. I have 2 constituents that would probably be grateful for you to consider also including other Pokemon characters like Pikachu. Would you consider that?
Mr. Lackey.
It's too late for amendments. Sorry about that.
Mr. Linder.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have to really congratulate you for doing such a hard work for the unarmored, three-spined stickleback fish, correct? And your duty in protecting these creatures is admirable. But question to the author?
Without objection.
Wouldn't it be easier to just armor the stickleback fish?
Mr. Lackey.
I think the Sierra Club would oppose that.
Mr. Allen, you are recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. First, I would really like to applaud my colleague and seatmate from Lancaster on this Palmdale. In Lancaster as well, right? I think I walked the streets of Lancaster. Yeah, exactly, clearly. This is a huge issue of the three-spine stickleback fish, And I really appreciate you looking out for the wildlife in our state. And so I have a very simple question. Would you be open to expanding the list of fish that deserve protection to other fish that might have, relevance such as the Delta smelt?
Mr. Lackey.
Now, to my colleague from some part of Orange County, I would just like to remind him that this bill has carefully studied the impacts of those fish who occupy this region, and the unarmored, three-spined stickleback is the fish that deserves the protection, and very proud of this legislation moving forward. So I would ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Lackey. With that, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the vote. Ayes 71, no 0 on the urgency. Ayes 71, no 0 on the measure. Senate amendments are concurred in.